Well. Look who the silence couldn't kill. You, the ghost they tried to bury under whispers. The name they scrubbed from the walls. The echo they thought would fade into dust. Yet here you are, breathing where no one was supposed to breathe, standing where no one was supposed to stand. Oh, they planned your erasure so beautifully, didn't they? They wrote your obituary in advance. They toasted to your absence like it was a festival. But the problem with trying to bury fire is that the ground eventually burns. They thought the silence was your coffin. They didn't realize it was your classroom. While they laughed, you learned. While they slept, you studied the anatomy of betrayal. You dissected every lie, every smirk, every glance that dismissed you. You didn't scream for validation. You collected data. You didn't beg for mercy. You memorized their patterns. You didn't break down. You built walls, carved from the same stone they threw at you. Now, the echoes they left behind, they spell your name, every mockery, every rumor, now engraved in your legend. You didn't just survive. You rewrote the crime scene. And the silence, it doesn't belong to them anymore. It bows to you, because what they buried wasn't a name. It was a prophecy. They didn't just ignore you. They buried you in plain sight. Every smile was a eulogy. Every handshake, a final goodbye they thought you'd never hear. You watched them host your funeral while you were still breathing. And the irony? You even thanked them for attending. They didn't burn your name. They suffocated it. Quietly. Elegantly. Deleted messages. Unseen stories. Conversations that skipped your existence as if your name had become taboo. You became the ghost haunting your own life. Friends turned spectators. Family turned jurors. Colleagues turned archivists of your downfall. Each one labeling your silence as proof of guilt. They didn't stab you. They just forgot you. Slowly. Mercilessly. And that's the cruelest kind of execution, isn't it? No blood. No noise. Just the slow burial of relevance. They didn't need shovels. Their indifference did the digging. Every betrayal was a nail. Every silence, a hammer. Every maybe next time, a sermon at your grave. They thought memory was a weapon, but they forgot. Stones remember more than flesh. The ground remembers every name it was told to swallow. You were erased from their pages, but not from history's draft. You were exiled from their stories, but not from fate's ledger. They thought they'd erased the evidence, but they forgot you were the case file itself. They buried a name, not realizing they were fertilizing a legend. Because while they were writing your ending, you were learning how to carve your beginning, one scar at a time. And when the ground finally exhales, your name will rise. Not written in ink, but etched in stone. You went quiet, not broken, calculated. They mistook your silence for surrender. They didn't know it was surgery. Every word you didn't say became a scalpel. Every moment you didn't react became a stitch. You were performing an operation on your old self. No anesthesia, no mercy. You stopped chasing validation and started collecting evidence. You studied betrayal like scripture. You turned pain into a syllabus, and every scar became a paragraph in your thesis on survival. They thought you vanished. You were studying. The silence became your workshop, where vengeance was measured, not screamed. You drew blueprints on the walls of your own grave. You built strategy out of ashes, discipline out of disappointment, and patience out of poison. You learned how to weaponize the weight. Because time became your accomplice. It sharpened your edges while they celebrated too early. They didn't realize the quiet was your camouflage. You weren't gone. You were gathering proof, gathering names, gathering storms. In the grave of your name, you grew roots made of vengeance. And those roots, they were never meant to stay underground. You trained your rage to obey. You trained your pain to march in sequence. You turned grief into a soldier and silence into a general. You stopped explaining yourself to people who wanted confusion more than truth. You stopped seeking peace with those allergic to your fire. You became methodical, unseen, unheard, like a ghost taking notes before Judgment Day. And when patience became power, you smiled, because they still didn't know that your silence wasn't the end. It was the rehearsal. And then, the silence cracked, not with thunder, but with your footsteps. You didn't announce your return. You arrived, like a ghost that refused to stay obedient to the grave. They looked up, and their eyes widened. The same mouths that buried you now whisper your name as if it's a warning. They don't speak it out loud anymore. They lower their voices. Because now, your name doesn't belong in conversation. It belongs in caution. They thought time would erase you. Instead, time became your sculptor. It chiseled you out of fire, grief, and sleepless nights. Every scar, a paragraph. Every wound, a signature. Every silence, a sermon. You didn't come back for applause. You came back as evidence. Proof that pain doesn't end a story. It publishes it. The same walls that silenced you now echo your name. The same halls that mocked you now wear your shadow like a badge of regret. You are not a comeback. You are a correction. A reminder carved in stone that the forgotten don't stay buried. You didn't need fame. You needed permanence. And permanence demands blood, patience, and madness. 3 things they could never afford. You didn't crawl out of fire to prove them wrong. You came out to prove yourself right. They'll try to act like they always believed in you. They'll rewrite history, edit their betrayal, sanitize their guilt. But it's too late. Your silence already signed the verdict. They thought you'd be erased. Instead, you became the engraving. They wanted you gone. Now, they can't walk a mile without stepping on your name. And now, you stand at the peak, unbothered, unshaken, unforgettable. The noise below no longer reaches you. Their opinions, background static, their doubts, dust beneath your boots. Your name isn't trending, it's timeless, because trends vanish. But stone remembers. You are not chasing recognition anymore. Recognition is crawling back to you, trembling, breathless, repentant. Every eye that once looked past you now searches for a glimpse. Every voice that mocked you now trembles trying to pronounce your name correctly. This is the part they never prepare for. When revenge becomes irrelevant. Because your existence itself is punishment. You're in the room they said you'd never enter. On the list they swore you'd never touch. Your reflection haunts them more than your presence ever could. They see you in every shadow of success, in every mirror of regret, in every silence they once forced you to sit in. You didn't rise to prove them wrong. You rose to prove that silence never dies. It evolves. That graves don't always close. Sometimes they hatch gods. They wanted a ghost. They got a god. You became the myth whispered between failures, the name carved in every story of redemption. The storm that didn't just pass, it stayed. You're not chasing legacy anymore. You are legacy, the living monument that time itself salutes. And when the echoes of your footsteps fade into eternity, history won't ask how you survived. It will say, you redefined survival. You didn't just return, you replaced everything that tried to bury you. And now, the trial is over. No jury, no judge, just silence. The same silence they once used to bury you. Only this time, it listens. You don't need to shout anymore. Your story already testified. Your scars already took the oath. The verdict was never in their hands. It was etched the moment you refused to stay dead. They can destroy a name on paper, but not one engraved in consequence. Ink fades, stone does not, and your name has become geography. You walk through storms, and thunder sounds like applause. Rain falls on the same soil that tried to swallow you, and every drop whispers your name back to the earth. They wanted your name forgotten, but the ground remembers what the sky refuses to. They built walls to contain you. Now those same walls echo your legend. They prayed your silence would end you, but your silence became scripture. And long after their dust, your echo will still answer roll call. It will echo in the corridors of those who doubted you, in the ruins of every never, in the hush that follows every name spoken too softly to erase you. You smile, not with mercy, but with certainty, because history doesn't ask for permission to remember. It carves its favorites in stone, and this time, the stone still speaks.